What is up, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm Caleb, and today I'm going to be talking about how to use track settings in GarageBand iOS. Let's get into it. If you've been following along so far, we did Apple loops for the bass line. We made a drum beat with the drums. We did a synth with Alchemy. Let's go ahead and play back what we got so far. Perfect. So now we opened up the settings, the track settings, which is at the top left, the fourth one in, those faders, which is right now blue. Tap that, and this is going to give us our track settings. At the top, it says track settings. If you tap that, it takes you to quantization, recording. We do not need to use either of these, but I'm just going to kind of show you that those are there for a later video. Underneath that is output. Track volume, this is where your volume is. Obviously, you could turn it up and down. Underneath that is your track pan. If you move that to the left, it's only going to come out of the left side. If you move it to the right, it's only going to come out of the right side. Underneath that, we have a mute button, which will mute this track. To the right of that, we have solo, which will only play this track and mute everything else. Under that, we have plugins and EQ. It's got a compressor we can turn up and down. Treble, which is the high notes, and bass, which is the low, frequencies. That's going to enhance or remove them. Under that, we have master effects. Right here, we have echo and reverb. But let's go ahead and let's get into some details of plugins and EQ. For the sake of doing this, I'm going to go ahead and solo just this guitar. Let's go ahead and start it from the beginning. We're going to play it back. So the only thing on here right now is this visual EQ. Let's go ahead and tap on that. Now, once we're here, we're going to tap Analyzer. So what an EQ is, if you're not familiar, is this is all the frequencies that you can hear, that the human ear can hear in what's called the sound spectrum. All the way on the left, you see 20, which is 20 hertz. All the way on the right, you see 20K, which is 20,000 hertz. All of your bass and low-end instruments and all that type of stuff is going to be over there on the left, where you'll see at the top in orange it says bass. And that goes from about 20 to 100 hertz frequency. And then mid, you can see it at around a little over 100 to 200 up until about 2K. And then that gets into treble up there. So we have to fit everything within what's called the sound spectrum, and we don't want things to get in the way of each other. Like, you don't want a kick drum and you don't want bass to both be fighting over the same space in, the low end of your mix, or else it's going to sound muddy, which is what we call it when too many things are trying to occupy too many frequencies that are the same as other instruments. So what we're going to do is we're going to play it back, and you'll actually see an analyzer showing us what frequencies are being picked up from this instrument. And what we're going to do is take some out. That's a little too much. We'll bring it up. Perfect. And if we want, we can bring up the high end. Here are the top sparkles a little bit more now. So that's all we're going to do with that. We're going to tap done at the top right. There's our EQ. Now this compressor right here, if we want, we could turn that on. We'll go ahead and tap on the left side. Boom. See how it turned blue and just turned on? So what the compressor does is it has a couple different methods of control. The top one is called the threshold, and that's actually where the compressor is going to kick in. What volume do you want the compression to start kicking in at? So we can go ahead and keep it up here. The ratio, this is how much it's being compressed. And what compression really helps with is if you're singing or playing an instrument, or you've done something that gives you a recording where one part is really quiet and another part is really loud. Well, when you play it back, you don't want the quiet part to be quiet and the loud part to be loud. You do to an extent, but you want to use a compressor so when someone's listening back, it comes through the speakers at the same volume. They can still get the effect of something being quiet or something being loud. You're not going to lose that if you use a compressor the right way. So for this one, we're going to leave the compressor about there for, let's go ahead and do like 5 to 1. I'll do 5.0. Attack is the speed in which the compressor kicks in. Gain is going to add volume to it once it's being compressed, and then mix is how much of the compression is in the mix. So we're going to just kind of mess with those. I'll start it over so you can hear the difference as we're doing it. Do you hear that sounds a lot more full now? So you're going to want to mess with compressors. And I could do a video completely just talking about compressors if you'd like in the future. But you can totally tell what we just did with the EQ and the compression and how it's standing out a lot more. Now we're going to go down to what's called the master effects. So on the master effects, we have our echo. We can change it on here. Ambient delay. There's all kinds of different echoes that we could put on here. There's also all kinds of different reverbs that we can put on here. Default, ambience, cathedral, chamber, all that stuff. And then these faders underneath control the amount. So I'm going to play it back. We'll just kind of experiment and check out some different sounds with these. I know you could tell the difference in those because that was some pretty drastic changes. So you're going to select whichever one that you like the best out of that. And it's going to actually apply that type of reverb to every single track. So if you change this to cathedral, let's say, it's going to be cathedral on every single track. And you'll just adjust, when we go back over here, the amount in which you want it to be introduced to the reverb. And what reverb is it makes a sound like it's in a space. So the cool thing about GarageBand on the iPhone is you can select which space do you want. Do you want it to be a chamber, a large hall, or a small hall? And then how much of it do you want to be being reverberated? So we'll go ahead and listen back. Now we'll mess with some echoes. And you hear those little echoes when you stop it, so that's how you know it's working. Now, those are the ones that just kind of come under the hood. If we want to really get into it, we can tap on Master Effects, we can tap on Plugins and EQ, and we can click Edit. And right here, it's going to allow you to actually put in some additional plugins. So under Effects, Bit Crusher, Chorus, Distortion, we'll go over all of these in another video. And then audio unit extensions, these are actually ones you can download from the App Store, and you could add it into your GarageBand app. On computers, we call these VSTs. You know, it's like Waves, plugins, all that other kind of stuff. So there's always something new coming out by different companies that you can add into GarageBand to make your music even better. If you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and I'll try my best to reply to your comment. Have a great day. Peace.